Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Get ready for a wild ride because today we're diving into Mobile Health Network Solutions' latest filing. And let me tell you, it's like trying to diagnose a medical mystery from a mile away, but don't worry, we'll try to break it down in a way that makes sense. This report is about them wanting to sell more stock, but what does that really mean for the company and your potential investment? Let's find out. First off, this is an F1 filing, meaning they're registering shares for sale. In simple terms, they're getting permission to offer more of their company to the public. They're planning to resell up to 344,401 of their Class A ordinary shares. These shares are being offered by YA2PN Limited, a firm we will call the selling shareholder. Mobile Health Network Solutions has an agreement allowing them to sell these shares over the next 3 years, potentially raising up to $10 million. There are some limitations to this deal. The selling shareholder can't own more than 9.9% of the company, and they can't acquire more than 19.99% of the shares outstanding on the date of the agreement. There's an ownership limit and an exchange cap. They're also flagging that they are an emerging growth company. What does that mean? It means they get to take advantage of some reduced reporting requirements, giving them a little leeway on what they have to publicly disclose. Now, a disclaimer to keep in mind, this is preliminary, so things could change before these shares are actually sold. Before we dive into the financials, the company's goal is to simplify healthcare so it's more affordable, easily accessible, and less confusing for everyone from patients to doctors. Mobile Health Network Solutions operates primarily through their Decoder platform and is striving to become a one-stop shop for users' health needs. They claim to have had the largest number of teleconsultations per day in Singapore for a period. The filing says they're trying to solve key problems like unequal access to healthcare, difficulty obtaining correct medical advice promptly, confusion due to many healthcare options, and chronic disease burdens. They run several online stores called Mana Shop and Mana Store. They say that their goal is to offer products and services from suppliers that they trust to deliver quality products and services at affordable prices. On the risk side, there are plenty, as there are with any public company. One of the major ones, security breaches. If hackers get into their systems, it could hurt the company's reputation. They also acknowledge their business generates and processes a large amount of data, and any misuse or disclosure of it could backfire. Another mentioned risk, not having enough insurance to cover potential business problems, especially medical liability claims. Also, they face increasing risks doing business in countries such as Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia. If you do buy shares, keep in mind they've got dual class voting structure, which means some insiders have way more voting power than regular shareholders like you. Now, let's jump into some numbers and financials, always the juiciest part for us in Corporate Decoder. Here's a snapshot of their recent financial results. Total revenue for 2024 was about $14 million, up from $7.9 million, up from $7.9 million the previous year, 2023. That's a significant jump, almost doubling their income in 1 year. But remember, this is just the top line. Operating expenses ballooned to $18.2 million, up from $4.4 million. Salaries and benefits jumped significantly from $2.4 million, likely from rewarding staff after the IPO. This is a significant 70% increase. But check this out, share-based compensation, which is paying employees with stock options, went from $0 to over $9 million, meaning that if you take that item away, their real operating expenses were a lot less. The company reported a net loss of $15.6 million compared to a loss of $3.2 million last year. So while revenue went up, losses also increased dramatically. That share-based compensation really stings. Keep an eye on potential strategic alliances, investments, or acquisitions. The report acknowledges these could affect their financial health for better or worse. For those of you outside of the US, one of the downsides called out in the report to being a Cayman Island company is that it may be difficult for a shareholder to bring an action against the company. In February, they did a share consolidation, meaning every 8 old shares became 1 new share. This can boost the share price, but doesn't actually change the company's underlying value. On April 19, 2024, the underwriter of their IPO exercised warrants, which meant that Mobile Health Network Solutions created another 154 shares. More shares means more shares in the pie to divide, which means the value of pre-existing shares are reduced. In summary, there are a lot of risks, including being subject to laws, the potential for negative publicity, potential terror activities in countries where they operate, data breaches, the ability to keep and maintain talent, and reliance on technology mobile health network solutions do not control. Finally, and this is important, it's unclear how many shares Mobile Health will actually sell to the selling shareholder and therefore how much money they will make. Now, after digesting all that, what's my take? While Mobile Health Network Solutions shows promise with its telehealth platform and revenue growth, there are definitely red flags. The massive jump in share-based compensation with the near 400% jump in net losses is definitely something I would want answered if I was the shareholder, and the dual-class share structure limits outside say. Also, there was a major regulatory compliance blunder which caused the revocation of a clinic subsidiary license. If you do decide to invest, be sure to do your own thorough research and recognize this is an extremely risky venture. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more corporate decoder insights. Until next time, stay informed and invest wisely.